In this video, we will begin Chapter 3, but we are actually going to start off Chapter 3 by reviewing something you did in grade 9, which is building the equation, or finding the equation of a line when you're given some information. Before we start that, we just want to quickly review something we talked about in the first chapter, actually. So, parallel lines have slopes that are the same. So, if line 1 has a slope of 2/3, then line 2 must also have a slope of 2/3. Okay, so parallel lines will have the same slopes. What about perpendicular lines? Perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocal. So if line 1 has a slope of 3/4, then line 2 has a slope of negative 4/3. Okay, so one thing I think a lot of math teachers have a pet peeve of about negative reciprocal is students just say flip the number and then say change a sign. But what we really prefer students saying is that two numbers are negative reciprocals of one another if their products is -1. Okay, so if you take 3/4 and multiply it by negative 4/3, the product is -1, which means 3/4 and negative 4/3 are negative reciprocals of each other. So really try to avoid saying flip the number and change the sign, because that's not what we really want to get after. That's going to come in handy later in the unit, understanding what negative reciprocal means. Okay, so hopefully remember y equals mx plus b. That is going to help us tremendously in this lesson. So I tell you the slope of this line is 4 and the y-intercept is -7. So let's start off by refreshing our memory. Y equals mx plus b. M equals 4 because the slope is 4. B equals -7. So we have y equals 4x minus 7. There we go. That's as straightforward as it gets, okay? Giving you the slope and giving you the y-intercept. Most of the time, we will not give you the slope and the y-intercept. So the next one, it's a little bit more work. We give you the slope and we give you a point. So y equals mx plus b. Let's start off with that again. So let m equals -3. And we want to sub in the point 5, -6. So it's a bit more work because we don't have the y-intercept to begin with. So -6, -3, 5, and then b. So if you do the math, b is 9, because if you add 15 to both sides, 15 minus 6 is 9. So the equation of the line is -3x plus 9. Alright, so really the strategy is find the slope, find the y-intercept. So my line is parallel to y equals 4x plus 3, and it passes through 2, 1. So since the slope of y equals 4x plus 3 is 4, guess what? Your parallel line must also have a slope of 4. Okay, so let's start with y equals mx plus b. Let m equal 4 because the two lines are parallel. And we're going to say sub in the point 2, 1. So let y equals 1, m equals 4, x equals 2. So b is -7. Y equals 4x minus 7. Okay. Ooh, this time my line is perpendicular to y equals 2x plus 3. And it passes through 3, 5. So hopefully you remember the perpendicular slope is negative reciprocal to 2. So -1/2 times 2, the product is -1, so these two are negative reciprocals. So we can start with y equals mx plus b. Let m equal -1/2, that's our slope, and we're going to sub in the point 3, 5. Okay, this one would be, I'll show more steps for this one. So this is 10 over 2 plus 3 over 2. So b is 13 over 2. Therefore, the equation of the line is -1/2 x plus 13 over 2. Okay, so sub in the slope, and you know the slope is -1/2 because your line is perpendicular to y equals 2x plus 3, so negative reciprocal, sub in the point, and just make sure you follow the algebra correctly. Rearrange and perform your inverse operations. Okay, so let's see, what about this one? Okay, so E and F is essentially the same. You have 2 points and you have to find the equation line. So this is something that you have to do quite often in the 3rd chapter. Okay, so it's really important we review this skill. So unlike A, B, C, and D, you can't really find the slope very quickly. But luckily, if you have 2 points, hopefully remember the slope formula, right? Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2x minus x sub 1. So if we want, we can label the points. This is, let's say this is our first point, x coordinate of the first point, y coordinate of the first point, x coordinate second point, y coordinate second point. Which you label as the first and second point is really irrelevant. You can choose either or. It will give you the same slope either way. Okay, so I'll follow how I label it. 2 minus -4, -6 minus 2, so this would be 6 over -8. Let's simplify that, -3/4. Okay, so once again, let's start off with y equals mx plus b. Let m equals -3/4, and let's sub in a point. Doesn't matter which point you sub. No, both of them are on the line. So I'm going to choose 2, -4. So -4, -3/4, 2 plus b. So this is going to be 3/2. So -3/2 becomes positive 3/2. And that's going to be -5/2. Alright, so here, once again, let's find the slope. You can start off by writing the formula if you want. And I'm just going to jump into it. I'm not going to label the points. But if you feel more comfortable doing that, go right ahead. No difference. So -12/7. Alright, that's my slope. But I need the y-intercept as well. So it's always slope, y-intercept, slope, y-intercept. Without the two, you really can't write the equation of the line. I mean, you might have to do some extra work, but ultimately, you want to find the slope and the y-intercept, and then you'll have the line. Okay, so let m equal -12/7, and sub in the point -2, 4. So we want the denominator 7, so this is 28/7. This will be 24, so it's -24/7. So 4/7. Alright, then we have the equation, -12/7 plus 4/7. There we go. So key things to remember is parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have slopes which are negative reciprocals. Don't forget the slope formula because that's going to come in handy in the next lesson. So you know what? Now that we've reviewed how to write the equation of a line, I think we're ready to start our first lesson.